I'm listening to the fucking radio this morning, against my will. I don't want to listen to the radio. My girlfriend's got the radio on. I'm listening to this guy on the radio. You know, he's your morning DJ, and it's his job to say things that are kind of shocking to really prudish people on their way to work. Like the American proletariat, you know, are flipping through stations trying to find something that gives them like a little head scratcher of the day. Like, oh, well, I don't know about that. You know, give them a chance to call in and, you know, give someone their 2 pennies, because, you know, in day-to-day life, no one fucking cares about their opinion, right? Go to work, it's a thankless fucking job, no one ever asks them what they think about anything. So it's nice that the radio gives a shit. And it gives them these, like, you know, these silly questions that are designed for the intellectually indigent that any fucking moron off the street can form a half-baked opinion about. And the question this morning was, would you date a sex offender? Yeah, you know, right, who gives a fuck? I mean, they're even saying on the air, you know, a lot of sex offenders, that could be just someone who had sex in a public park, or masturbated in their car, or flashed their dick at an old lady. You know, you never know. I mean, the list of things that'll get you on the sex offender list is just growing larger and larger and larger every fucking year. Even with this in mind, of course the response of the audience is largely no, dear God no, would not date a sex offender. I mean, Americans were really uncomfortable with sex, and, you know, if you did something that was criminal involving sex, it's probably too icky for the general public, and, you know, whatever, I don't give a fuck. Oh, I mean, a predictable response for America. I mean, this guy knew when he asked this question that people are going to have this reaction. Now, his personal stance was, yeah, I'd date a chick if she was a sex offender, because then, you know, she's kind of freaky. Long as she didn't do something with no kids, that's fine. I'd date any sort of girl got on the sex offense registry, because you know she puts out, you know. Look, I'm a provocateur myself, and this guy is a lowbrow provocateur. So I can understand, I can relate, I see where he's coming from, I know what he's doing. You know, it's time to get the audience a little riled. Oh, whoa, hey, I gotta call in and complain about this. You know, finally my girlfriend turns the radio show off, and I immediately just forget all about the stupid sex offender question, because who gives a shit? But then later today I read this article published in the Rolling Stone called The Kill Team. The Kill Team. And what the Kill Team is it's this group of soldiers in Afghanistan who decided, hey, let's kill civilians. Why the fuck not? No one's gonna stop us. No one's gonna give a shit. Might be fun to kill some civilians. And, you know, at first they're just talking about it, like, jokingly. Eventually they decide, yeah, let's do it. Let's do this. Let's kill some civilians, bro. And they did. They went out and they killed at least 4 civilians, and they took degrading pictures with the civilians' corpses. And, you know, their general attitude was just like, who gives a shit? These people are savages. We don't care about them. And even though it was just a small group of guys that did it, everyone in their entire company knew about it. And everyone was just like, well, you know, that's their hobby. They like killing civilians. I mean, who am I to judge? I got my Parcheesi, so how can I judge his hobby of murdering innocent civilians? And these guys that were going out there killing civilians, they were planning some even more heinous shit. They were thinking like, hey, wouldn't it be fun to throw candy out of our armored vehicle, and when the children rush up to grab it, we just mow them down, just kill a bunch of innocent children? Wouldn't that be great? Or we could throw it in front of the vehicle and just run them over. That way, even if we do get caught, we can be like, oops! So these are American soldiers over there in Afghanistan, murdering innocent people just for the lulz. So I started to think, here's a real question for your radio show. Would you rather date a U.S. soldier or a sex offender? And of course we all know the answer. Everyone's going to want to date a U.S. soldier over a sex offender. And yet, it seems like U.S. soldiers are getting up to some pretty heinous shit. I mean, let's just think about this. If you're someone who gets off on killing innocent people, or you're someone who knows about someone who gets off killing innocent people, but you just don't feel the need to, you know, do anything to stop it, then I would say you're probably worse than or just as bad as any sex offender in the United States of America. So at some point we might ask ourselves the question, Why did these soldiers do this? And why did their fellow soldiers do nothing to stop it? Where did this evil come from? I mean, it didn't come from Satan. It's not like the devil was like, kill civilians, it will please me. It wasn't like this is some foreign country doing this, where we can just say, well, that's just how the damn Chinese are. I mean, this is us. This is people we know going overseas and doing shit like this, or knowing about shit like this and doing nothing about it. And, we're just like, well, that's war. That's how it is. You want to kill a civilian, sometimes gotta just kill a civilian. That's how it goes, That's war, right? I don't understand the logic of, yeah, that's cool, that's war. You gotta realize where they're at. A sex offender couldn't use that logic. A sex offender couldn't be like, yeah, I had sex with them kids, but what can I say, man? I had a boner, they were around. What was I supposed to do? A story like this really does bring into sharp focus the very important question of, why the hell are we in Afghanistan to begin with? What are we doing there? What is the objective at this point? I think we're in Afghanistan for the same reason that the sex offender is in the minor. Because he just can't help himself. Yeah, we just can't help ourselves. Hey, Afghanistan, why the fuck not? We need to be in some kind of war. We're America, for fuck's sake. We don't feel like true Americans unless we're doing something like this. And before anyone gets mad at me, I'm not saying for a second that every soldier is like this. I know that they're not. I know there's plenty of soldiers who would be absolutely aghast at something like this happening. That's fine. I'm totally with you on that. But this shouldn't happen at all. It should not happen at all, okay? And you can say, oh, well, it's just some bad apples. But hey, you know what? Maybe it's a bad tree. Maybe the whole apple tree needs to be chopped down. Maybe we should just burn the whole fucking orchard and start over. Just a thought.